The Galien Foundation fosters, recognizes, and rewards excellence in scientific innovation to improve the human condition.
André Malraux said once in one of his novels, "Une vie humaine ne vaut rien, mais rien ne vaut une vie humaine." Human life is worth nothing, but nothing is worth a human life. All these men and women are trying to save human lives. Is there anything more noble than that?
The Galien Awards ceremony is considered the equivalent of the Oscars night for the innovators in the labs and awards every year Best Pharmaceutical Product, Best Biotechnology Product, Best Product for Orphan Rare Diseases, Best Medical Technology, Best Digital Health Solution, Best Incubator Accelerator Equity, Best Startup. Around the globe, the Prix Galien is considered as the equivalent of the Nobel Prize for the industry, mobilizing an unrivaled network of Nobel laureates and top biomedical scientists. The Galien Foundation manages an independent, cross-functional, and geographically diverse program of events and sponsorship to brand the best of the best in new medicines and diagnostics. The Prix Galien is a welcome initiative to stimulate creative research and promote excellence. Barack Obama. The Roy Vagelos Pro Bono Humanum Award for Global Health Equity is bestowed to an individual, a company, an academic institution, or a non-governmental agency that has helped to improve the human condition through the application of biopharmaceutical science to problems of developing or underserved populations worldwide.
This is the right event, on the right issue, at the right time.
Staging this event in Africa is a significant statement that science and innovation are needed as much here in Africa as anywhere else.
I'm particularly grateful to receive this award.
The awards are among the highest honors in science and commerce because they lead to improvement in the human condition.
The Prix Galien Awards recognize the world's brightest minds and most innovative companies. They are a true celebration of the hard work required to produce life-changing interventions.
That is what makes us optimistic about the future.
Congratulations to all of you.
Make a difference. Join the Galien Foundation.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. My name is Ron Cohen. I'm the CEO and founder of Accorda Therapeutics, and I am delighted to be here today with our four panelists. I'm going to start with just very quick introductions, and then I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves, and then we will get into the very important subject of biopharmaceutical healthcare incubators. And what are they? Why are they critical to our ecosystem? Why are they critical to innovation and the future of healthcare? With us today, we have Robert Karanja, Dr. Robert Karanja, PhD. He's the co-founder of Vilgrow Africa, and I believe Chief Innovation Officer. Mati Gill, and Robert, I think, is with us today from Kenya, from Nairobi in Kenya. Mati Gill, who is the CEO of Aon, which is Israel-based, but also has operations more widely. I do want to just take a brief second to depart from the usual protocol and thank Mati especially. He's located near the Weizmann Institute in Rehovot. He advised us he may have to drop out if an air raid siren goes off, and in at a time where we are celebrating innovation and the humane aspects of Galien. I think it's very important that we recognize and be thankful that our colleagues and friends in Israel are at the forefront of fighting inhumanity at this time. So thank you for that. And Chris Henschel, who is the Chief Scientific Officer of Cube Labs, and Isaac Middleman, who is the Managing Director of EIT Health. All right, let me move to Chris. Now, Chris, when we talked, I'm always interested in what people's the arc of their journey in these areas. And one of the things that stuck out for me is you had a biochemistry degree in R&D, and at some point your wife asked how you were actually going to make a living, and that launched you in new directions. You have worked in industry. You were at Biogen. You were at Centocor, one of the original giants in biotech. You ran a foundation in Geneva for 10 years. And you found yourself in Tuscany, where you met, I think, the original founders of Cube Labs. So tell us, what is Cube Labs? Why are you involved with it? What got you interested in it? And your Chief Scientific Officer. Go ahead.
Well, Cube Labs is a venture builder, which is one of the variants of these accelerators or incubators. They're not all the same, and there are sort of regional aspects of it all. But before going to that, yes, it was actually my now wife, who's American, who asked, how are we ever going to make a living? So I at that time was such an innocent academic that it never entered my mind that at some point I might have to do that. But that was a hell of a long time ago. But to get back to today, Cube Labs is really the concept of its founder, Filippo Surace, who was an adjunct professor at Temple University in Philadelphia. And I think he noticed the excitement in biotech that was along the East Coast and, of course, in California when he was there. And he sort of realized that excitement and that translation of concepts from labs into products and companies was not what was happening in Italy. So he went back and asked himself the question, what could he do? And basically, Cube Labs is the result of that what could he do question. So basically, it ties into the academic science base in Italy, which is, by citation index terms, I think the 8th in the world. It's actually higher on a per capita basis. It's got a fantastic history of innovation in life sciences, particularly if you think food, but also in terms of instruments and so on. I think it's above Germany, for example, in some aspects of instrument development. So this tells you that there's a huge opportunity, but it also begs the question, why wasn't that opportunity really being exploited? What we found out, what Filippo found out, was that these intermediary organizations with the space and expertise and network, frankly, to access the whole ecosystem of life sciences innovation, whether it's intellectual property, whether it's non-dilutive funding, whether it's early series of fundings, whether it's company formation. And by the way, the reason we call ourselves a venture builder rather than an accelerator is that we usually get involved before the company is actually formed. We're not trying to take early companies and accelerate them. We're trying to create the early companies. So to date, some 13 companies have been created within Cube Labs. In each case, Cube Labs has at least 51% of the equity in the companies. It's also unusual in that the scope is very, very broad. It's basically the whole of the life sciences, from therapeutics, to medical devices, to nutraceuticals, and even now recently cosmetics. So incredibly broad. And some people have asked me, isn't this a disadvantage? And I actually think it's a huge advantage. And the reason I say that is because one of the things that we can do, which highly specialized organizations can't do very easily, is find synergies between things that initially appear to be completely different and to have nothing to do with each other. So some of our pipeline now are projects that start off with a sort of nutraceutical concept and then a hydrogel concept, and now it's a COVID product. And that was like put together by the higher level of thinking that we can do at Cube Labs than can be done in the expert companies themselves. So yes, we're slightly unusual. We have the positives of Italy, but we're now developing into a pan-European type organization. So maybe a little bit like Isaac is going to talk, we're trying to be pan-European, and we now have a footprint in several countries in Europe.
You are also a listed entity. Is that right?
Yes, that's absolutely right. I should have said that. There was an IPO in a specialist section of the Borsa Italiana, a section obviously to do with early stage companies and to do with investors who are quite seasoned investors. So that is the status. We are actually a listed company on Euronext. You can look us up on Euronext.
Fantastic.